What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Redriveraviation. Hope you guys had a fantastic day today, and today we have a very special video for you guys. Today we have the very first video with the announcement and the background information of my brand new fictional model airport. This is Great Plains International Airport, and I'm super excited to dive into all the details with you guys about this airport. I really hope you guys are excited for today's video, and without any further delay, let's get started with Great Plains International Airport, the brand new 1:400 scale fictional model airport on my channel. I've been looking very forward to this project. This is something that I've wanted to work on for quite some time now, and I'm very glad that it's pieced together so well. I'll just give you guys some different views while I talk here. So Great Plains International Airport it's been a project that I've thought about for quite some time, and I'm really excited to get this off the ground because this is a massive project, and as you guys can see, it is looking absolutely awesome. So there was some inspiration behind this project, and I'll kind of talk about that because there's various elements that led to the reason that this airport is now here, and I'm really excited to dive into those details with you guys. So what we're going to start with is a little bit of a backstory with some background information about why we are now here with this brand new fictional airport, and then we'll dive into some information about the airport as well and just kind of talk about the logistics and what you can expect in the upcoming airport updates of this amazing fictional model airport. So let's start with the background story because some of you guys probably already know it, but I still would like to say it for any of my new viewers, and I decided to split this up into two videos. I was originally going to try to do it all in one, but it became way too long, and I thought that would be more proper for people that just want to watch the model airport portion to watch the model airport portion. So we're going to go into a very in-depth assessment because I want you guys to know why this airport is here and the meaning and the purpose behind it, because I think that you have to have a purpose for everything that you do, in my opinion, and I think that this is a great example of why to do that. So let's talk about the purpose of Great Plains International Airport. So as you guys may or may not know, I decided to put a massive twist on fictional model airports 3 years ago back in May of 2019 when I began season 1 of my Storyline International Model Airport project. As you guys know, this was a project that I was really excited about and really, in my opinion, was very innovative and took the fictional model airport game to the next level. Season 1 was phenomenal as it ran from May of 2019 to I believe March of 2020 with about 20 airport updates, and I was really pleased with the progression at that model airport. At that time, I wasn't really too big on realism, and the size didn't really bother me since I only had like 5 other model airports at the time. So I was able to do multiple airport updates even on a monthly basis, which was really cool. But that project lasted really well until the airport finally grew to too big of a size, and of course I started the season 2 model airport. Season 2 ran from April of 2020 to August of 2022 with only 3 updates in the last 16 months or so. With that being said, I'm not going to go into the full details. I talk about it in those airport updates if you'd like a further assessment on why Season 2 ended fairly abruptly. But due to the sizing of the model airport, my realism itch, if you will, for model airports, and unfortunately my mono illness, all led to the reasons of why Storyline Season 2 ended fairly abruptly with only 3 final updates here in the last 6 months. With that being said, Storyline was something that I'm very passionate about, and I didn't want to go away, but I had a really weird in-between because I wanted it to grow to such a level to where I can encompass all those details, but I also wanted to keep the realism and just the full storyline effect of it very present and a huge part of it, because that's how the series started after all, and it was something that I was very passionate about and wanted to encompass in its best entirety. With that being said, I chose to do the best of both worlds because I thought that this would be a perfect way to present a brand new project to you guys, 2 of them that is, I guess, but in the same time also make it very doable for me and have something that I think you guys will really enjoy. So what I've chose to do is Storyline Season 3, will now be its own project, and that model airport will not be near as big of a size. It's going to be the most realistic model airport that I've done so far, and we're going to have everything from gate markings to taxiway signs to airport fencing, you name it. I hope to have it as realistic as possible. That project will be coming in the near foreseeable future, hopefully by the end of the year, but that's something that's just a slowly but surely type project, and I won't debut it until it is fully ready to my standards. In the meantime, to satisfy for such, and also to make up for the lack of growth that airport is going to see due to the realism aspect, I've decided to start a brand new fictional airport that is massive. This fictional airport will have plenty of twists and turns and most certainly will be enjoyable. And if you really enjoyed the last few episodes of Storyline, this is pretty much just going to be an extension, because as you guys may know, Storyline Season 2 ended fairly, I don't want to use the word raw, but it was a little bit raw in the sense of innovation. And the reason I did that was because I was ready for a new project, and I was just looking very forward to it. So I was ready to get there, and we finally made it to Great Plains International Airport, one of the largest model airport projects I have ever encountered, and I'm really pleased with how it looks at this time. So that is pretty much where the inspiration came for this. I always have done fictional airports that encompass the size, not quite this big, but definitely in a really large connotation with the mad and everything, especially towards the end of Storyline Season 2. But I wanted to enhance that to such a way where we would have even more that we could dive into on a regular basis and not have it be near as realism pressing. I want to have fun with it, and I kind of, making stuff up on the fly if needed and just having a good time with it. And I know that there's a lot of fictional model airports on YouTube, but I feel like this one's going to be very diverse for multiple reasons, as we'll dive into with this airport. So let's start with the history and kind of the background segment here for Great Plains International Airport, because there's quite a bit to talk about, and the model airport has quite a few realms to it that make it quite nice. So let's dive into those details at this time. Great Plains International Airport, of course, became an airport due to the Storyline situation. And I'm really excited because I believe this is my first fictional airport on this channel that is not Storyline, which I'm very excited about. So this is my first full-fledged fictional airport. There's been plenty done over the years on YouTube, as you guys know, and I'm really excited to present this one in this connotation because I feel like it's going to be quite a unique airport for many reasons. So this airport is based in Kansas City, Missouri, as the name kind of implies, with Great Plains International Airport. You will find various hub airlines here and also some really cool attributes that will make this airport very unique, which I'm really excited to dive into and assess. So let's talk about those details because there's quite a few of them. So like I said, located in Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City now has a incredible metro population of 60 million people, which is unbelievable. Keep in mind, guys, it's fictional, but I want to make this fairly realistic for the size. And now Kansas City is one of the biggest cities in the United States of America. As a result, the Kansas City MCI airport has now turned into essentially a Newark or so, however you want to call that. That airport still has quite a bit of traffic, but not quite as much as what the new airport has. So we're going to say, for the sake of kind of realism, but we're going to do our best here, this airport was constructed in the 2010 timeframe and started with two terminals, Terminal A and B. In 2015, the airport saw a massive expansion which encompassed Terminal C and Turnable B for more international operations and more low-cost operations here at the airport. American made a huge down payment of $3 billion to invest, and that is where they started with Terminal A. Delta and United quickly followed with $1.5 million each in their respective terminal over there, and that is where these two terminals began. We also started with a cargo apron, and in that $3 billion project for American, they also got a One World Alliance hangar to utilize here on this would be the south side of the airport, which we'll talk about that a little bit more here in a minute. And as you guys can see, it's progressed really nicely. After a big grant from Kansas City, the city that is, and the whole surrounding area with Missouri and everybody included, they have now made 2 additional concourses, and these runways were here to start with. The original master plan was to actually have satellite concourses here in the middle, but due to the growing international demand in Kansas City and just the population for those regions in general, they decided to completely scrap that and make a full-fledged international concourse. And due to the amount of leisure travel that's been developing, especially in the 2022 timeframe, they also developed into the low-cost terminal right here, as you can see as well. Also, something to note is you're going to see a bunch of liveries that never got repainted for airlines. So for instance, all the American Airlines Chrome airplanes, you'll see some retro United planes in there too, and some Delta ones every now and then. So some planes never got repainted through the time frame. This is obviously so I can use all my models, but you guys know what actually happened in real life. But we're going to show the best of everything in this Great Plains model airport. So that is the basic gist of it. The airport, we're currently sitting in the 2022 timeframe, and it'll be done on a monthly basis surrounding those months. We will do our best to make it as innovative as possible, but again, this is a massive airport. It's going to be fairly hard to keep the realism top notch, but we most certainly are going to do our best and make it super fun, which I'm very excited about. So let's talk about the layout of the airport, because it's a very interesting structure and I really feel like it turned out well. And feel free, if you guys have any more recommendations, comments, or if you guys would like me to do something particular, feel free to let me know, because I'd love to enhance this setup and I would love to see what you guys think about it. So here we go. So currently here on the south side of the airport, I'm going to denote this because 15 left is on that side, and that is pretty much the northeast side of the airport, but we'll say it this way is north. So this is the north side of the airport. We started over here construction on the south side of the airport, and that is where this first terminal began. The initial intent with this airport was to become pretty much New York LaGuardia. It obviously pretty much blew that idea out of the water into a John F. Kennedy, essentially. But this is what we have at this time. They started by building a landside terminal here, and this is the landside terminal A concourse. Originally, American Airlines did park mainline planes here, but due to increased demand last moment, and they ended up building that structure, this turned into the American Eagle concourse at the landside terminal. So you're gonna find various RJ gates, and American originally just planned to have about 10 gates or so, but that obviously changed dramatically. But you'll find American Airlines flying to all regions across the United States with these smaller aircraft, cities such as Little Rock, Arkansas, Colorado Springs, you name it, like even Charleston, South Carolina, some different routes, some are mainline too, but this is what you'll find at this concourse, the smaller routes to smaller places in the United States. So I'm really happy with how that turned out, and let me know what you guys think about the design. But I think there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 gates or so, somewhere in there. Obviously in the enhanced winglets can change it up a bit, but there's quite a few gates, and it's going to be pretty hard for American Eagle to outgrow that. But if we need to expand, possibly they'll consider doing something on the backside. The drop-off area is actually about right here, so they do have enough room to where they could expand it and put gates here and a taxiway back here. That was kind of the original envision with the mainline concourse, but that changed significantly. Last moment, there was American did choose to make a grant to where they could build a full satellite concourse encompassing of several gates, and I'll be sure to put a gate diagram on the screen for you guys once that is drawn out. The satellite concourse was developed to obtain all the American Airlines mainline traffic along with future international operations. So these 3 heavy gates actually opened about 3 years ago in time of the airport. These were all narrow bodies, but they did decide to enhance this to comply with some of the American Airlines international demand to compete with some of their fellow international carriers. But originally, American Airlines chose to make this the biggest concourse that they could to obtain all their operations. They currently still have a little bit room to expand. Those 2 gates are not used as much. There's this gate right here that's kind of here or there, and they do bring out air stairs and all kinds of stuff to work on that as well. But for the most part, their biggest operations come through this side on the, sorry guys, I'm gonna have to think about this for a moment. I'm pretty sure this is the west side of the concourse, and then the east side of the concourse currently has, that I believe is correct. This might be the west side. I'm trying to think, I'm sorry guys. This, I don't know. I'll put a map and you guys will be able to see, and I'll put a compass on it and make it all nice and detailed. But this right here is the American Eagle, or sorry, this is the American mainline side of things, and this is how they've operated. Originally, they had 2 heavy gates right here, and this was the original plan, but obviously plans continue to change, so they ended up having that. So here are the 2 heavy gates, and these are mainly now used domestically, and there are just a few international flights out of there, and these are some pre-clearance gates, these 5 right here, so you'll find international services out of those to Mexico, Canada, and you know, like Paris, Madrid, that sort of thing. But the big international operations are down there with those 3 heavy gates. But I think there's about 30 gates or so here. You guys will see on the satellite. Alaska did move in with 2 gates down here about 2 years ago, or sorry, just a year ago, excuse me, when they joined One World. In 2020, they were already talking about it and got approved in 2021. So that's how this terminal's developed, and I'll be eager to see. There are currently some talks of possibly some One World carriers moving over here in the future. That is just a proposal right now, and depending on international growth, they are not sure. But they still have underground trains. I'll talk about how that works. So the underground train comes right here, and it's a pretty short hop, and that worked really well. In contrast, United and Delta thought that it would be a good idea, as they have teamed up, despite their different alliance, they have teamed up to make Turnable B. Turnable B was built immediately after the satellite concourse, and it is a train to get over here. You go straight across underneath, and that gets you to this amazing large satellite concourse, which is pretty much some sort of, not like a triangle, but I don't even know what you, kind of like a V kind of with an extension piece. And this terminal's turned out really well. So the original design was actually just these 3 piers, but due to United's expanded regional operations, they built this awesome like 10 gate extension with a couple of extra mainline gates as well. So currently Delta and United, I think, have about 35 gates at this terminal here, and they do a really good job with what they have. They're over here, there is not a flagship lounge yet, but there is a Miles Club, and I believe Delta has a Sky Club in the North Pier, which is what this pier is called. The North Pier has a Sky Club, and United, I believe, is working on a Polaris lounge currently in that part of the expansion right here near the heavy hybrid gates, which is very exciting. So at this time, Delta and United both have various services to the United States. American Mainline, of course, you guys know where they fly. It's going to be the Dallases and the Charlottes and the Chicagos of the world, and that's what you can expect there. Currently, Delta has a really solid operation. They are mainly a mainline-oriented airline here at Great Plains. They do have some regional jet operations, though, but since they have the big hub with Atlanta and all that, they didn't want to overlap it too much, so that is where they send most of their passengers. Speaking of which, they have multiple heavies a day, like this A330-200. They go out to Atlanta as a shuttle service, essentially, if you will, and they do plan to possibly innovate that, but at this time, they are still in discussions of that. But it is a lot of mainline flights to compete with American, and they're pretty much partnering up with United, so they do have some mutual destinations, but others they do trade off with. So it's not an integrated booking system yet, but if you do know about the system, you're welcome to utilize it. And I think they're currently working on not necessarily forming an alliance by any means, but I think they are trying to do a code share, kind of like what American JetBlue, American Alaska does. It is a little bit odd since they're in 2 different alliances, but I believe they're trying to work together to mainly compete against American, because I think that they were very agitated about that grant that was very expensive. Nevertheless, it is more competitions at Great Plains, and I think they've done a great job. So the gate B1 starts right there with Delta connection, and of course proceeds through here. These 3 gates are connection gates, all mainline. These 2 corner gates can be heavy hybrid gates, or this middle one can, and you can have a narrow body here in the middle instead and 2 heavies on the outside. But Delta is currently using that very well too. They also have 2 narrow or RJ gates on the other side there. The United gates were originally all narrow bodies, so they all went through here and there, but then United proposed the grant to start a regional jet operation here to help Delta and also compete against American, and that's exactly what they did with this expansion piece, which was done back in 2016. As you guys can see, we have multiple mainline gates still here on this side and a couple down here. You also find 2 narrow body gates here, but that is a heavy hybrid gate. Likewise, for this position could be a heavy hybrid gate, and then for these 2 gates right here, you can kind of see that gap as well. So, but you'll find various United mainline planes just like Delta. You'll find their whole fleet here. There's no major exceptions to that principle. So you'll find various planes through here, and of course all the models. I don't get to use my other model airports like the United 777, for instance. I'll see if I can get a better view because it looks really nice. Will make appearances here just like that, which is really nice. And then this extension piece, of course, like I said, United Express operates out here. I think they have 8 or 9 gates right there. There's another 175 gate right there that's not occupied at this time. So yeah, Turnable B, really nice terminal. They did a great job, and this has no affiliation with over there. They are currently considering doing the underground chain, continuing to C&D, but I'll show you guys how it currently works at this time. They are still in the process of making that work as of right now. Terminal C, like I said, was constructed in 2015. It was the first of the 2 Concourse. They put this thing up really quick, which they did a very good job on. This is my Orange County board, but I did want to utilize it for more operations here, and I'm sure you guys hopefully like it because I think it's went really well. But this is Terminal C, and this was proposed to be the low-cost terminal. So this is exactly what it ended up being. The proposal, this was the master plan. The anticipated demand did happen as they anticipated. And here's how they kind of built it. Southwest originally did not fly here for the longest time, but they started service in 2016 with just a few destinations to Dallas Love Field and Chicago Midway. And they've expanded into a focus city here at the airport. Now they have half the concourse with, I believe, 11 gates, and they are flying, bustling in and out of here at this time, which is very cool. Southwest currently does really well. They are one of the biggest market share airlines here at the airport. I think they house about 20%, which is really good, as I think American houses 30, and then Delta and United, I think, combined for about 40%. So this is the majority of the traffic right here. Keep in mind, this is like 100 million passenger airport we're talking about. So there's a lot of flights right here at this time. So Southwest does really well, and they're bustling here at the airport. They are considering some expansion plans. Feel free to comment if you guys have anything in particular, but possibly another few gates extended on here, and then that can provide some more room right there to do some different things. But that is a topic for another time. But I think that they've done really well with that. The other half was constructed for other low-cost carriers. At Turnable B, back in the 2013 range, there were some different airlines like Allegiant and Frontier that parked over there. But once Delta fully took that over with their Sky Club and everything, they moved those guys over here once this terminal was constructed. So currently housing Breeze, Avelos, Sun Country, Allegiant, Frontier, JetBlue, Spirit, and Hawaiian, which I think they've done a really good job on. They're also looking to get as many low-cost carriers in here as possible. So if you guys have any recommendations, please let me know, and I'll be sure to put them on this side of the sea concourse, which I think they've done a really good job on, or terminal, or whatever you want to call it. But the drop-off zones back here, they could technically expand on this side, but I don't believe that is what they're looking to do. I think they want more gates down there. But these airlines are so quick on turnarounds outside of Hawaiian. They are so quick that they are currently really efficient, and they still have several it does look full at this time, but there are times like 7 a.m. in the morning and even 7 p.m. in the evening where they can really expand if they need to. So very happy to see that progression. They've done a good job. This was also an extension. The original FBO was actually on that side of the cargo ramp next to the original Terminal A. That got demolished for this FBO, which is currently still under renovation. This was made in 2015, and as you can tell, it has pretty much been outgrown. They do have a couple more spots, but usually is even busier than that. But yeah, they are currently looking to expand over here for another FBO area, which I'm really excited about, and I think they can do a really good job. This building does extend over there. Don't worry, that will be coming with the expansion as well. So it's kind of started that got cut off, but really excited for that, and I think they're going to do a really good job with that. Lastly, in 2015, Turnable D was constructed. This was inspired by all the other Turnable Ds that you'll find with US international terminals like Dallas, Charlotte, and Houston. This turned out really well as an awesome 22 gate facility. They did a really good job on it, and they have not outgrown it at this time, which is very nice. So the inspiration here, there was a couple airlines also parking at Turnable B before the massive Delta expansion happened. There were some of these Mexico and Canadian airlines, and they were really happy to get to move them all over here. And this is one piece that I think will be very unique about this airport, as you'll find all my Canadian planes and Mexico planes right here. I think that it turned out really well. Let me know what you guys think about that, but I'm sure for my international viewers, you guys will really appreciate this variety, because I'm really happy with it, and I think it turned out really well. All the international gates have progressively filled up over the years. They built them all with the anticipation that it grew to be this big, and they've done a great job. We have so many various international airlines flying from all around the world, including Qantas, Japan, KLM, Korean, Turkish, Air India, ANA, Lufthansa, Qatar. All these guys are all flying here, and they've done a really good job. I'm really excited to get to use all these models at long last, because I get to use a good few of them, but there's some like KLM 333, Air India, ANA that I do not get to use on an annual basis. So I'm really excited to get to use these, and I think they'll be really nice. They also, in representation, as BA was the first international airline to start service here back in 2013, they flew in with American for the longest time at that concourse, that they donated a Concorde to be represented on this terminal, and that recently got finished as a monument, which looks really cool, and we're very glad to have that as a monument here at Great Plains International Airport. I think the international terminal turned out really well. I think it's actually 24 gates with my extension gates that I have, but they've done a really good job, and you get to see all the regions from around the world. This is also the One World's headquarters, so you're going to find so many One World carriers that will be flying here, which I'm really excited to get to represent in these updates. But you also find a really strong presence of SkyTeam and especially Star Alliance. They have various flights here, and we're really excited to get to represent that in today's update. Over here, as you'll see, you'll also find some international hard stands. I decided to not make this the cargo area because I've outgrown it, and I think it was much better suited as pads for international carriers, excuse me. So these are the double daily flights that probably need some time to rest before they go back. So you'll find Emirates, British Airways, Qatar also has flights over here too. So really excited to get to utilize this, and this will work really well. Maybe put a fourth pad right there for maybe a narrow body or something like that. So really happy with how that turned out. It looks really cool. Next up, you'll find 1.5 right and 1.5 left. These are your two main runways that were constructed over here with the original master plan. So it was the intention to build a terminal around here. And it kind of is a little chaotic, but I think it's a really cool system. So 1.5 left is your 10,000 foot runway. This houses mainly all of your heavies, but you'll find some narrow bodies also using it from this side of Terminal A and B. So it works really well and they have all of that and it works really good. 1.5 right on the south side is your south runway. It is about 8,000 foot and you'll mainly find more narrow bodies, as that would kind of imply right there, but you'll find some heavies using it too and they do a really good job with that as well. And then of course you can see the taxiway structure. It is clockwise, I believe, from this. I'm pretty sure it's clockwise. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's a clockwise method where planes go all the way down, back over, back all the way down here, and then across. So for instance, there are some longer taxi routes, like most of the narrow bodies that land over there and go to Terminal C have to taxi off all the way down, across, then cross over right here, just like that Frontier did from 1.5 right, and then park over here, and then they got to taxi back to, they can do in a lot of intersection takeoffs right there. You'll find a lot of that for both flows. So that is really nice right there. But there are some really long taxi routes. So for instance, that 175 may have to go all the way down, back all the way down here, all the way across and back over for takeoff here at 1.5 left. But for instance, there's some shorter ones like the United 777 will just have to park off right here and then just go on to 1.5 right. So it's a pretty good compromise and works fairly well. Also, some of these planes can kind of get screwed. Some of these various Canada and Mexico carriers, they'll have to come out, go all the way down and all the way back across over here rather than just taxi down here, because the flow is built that way so that planes can get back to their respective spots. The international carriers also have easy taxis because they can pull off right there or right there and then come back to their gates and also just come back down and take off. So theirs is a little bit simpler than the others because of this flow. Reciprocal flow is kind of hard. I think the flow remains the same, I'm pretty sure, but everybody goes down to the 3-3 side, but it's primarily south wind, so most of the time it's this flow, but you will get some 3-3s every now and then here too. So really excited to get to represent that in this connotation as well. And that is pretty much the full diorama. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, the cargo and hangar. That was the next step, and I believe that's the full apron. Definitely plan to expand, so if you guys are interested in that, please let me know, and I will definitely consider doing that. But here is the cargo area. So we currently have 8 cargo gates over here. This has expanded a little bit over the years. We originally started with these 4 and then added these 4 in 2017. And the cargo has really progressed well here at the airport, and they've done a really good job with that. I think they've done really well. So if you'll find a bunch of UPS, FedEx, Kalita, Prime Air, DHL, Kalita Chartered Second, all those guys, Prime Air, narrow bodies that is, and even more. So I'm excited to get to use all my cargo carriers over here, and they'll finally get more showtime as well. Lastly, you also have the original One World hangar that was built. This is used for all One World carriers, primarily American since they're in the region, but I believe Alaska is going to be using this quite a bit. And also some international carriers will also do some brief maintenance over here and maybe some designated maintenance like Qatar and, you know, Japan and all those guys. So really happy with how this progressed. Let me know what you guys think of it, and I think it went really well. So yeah, that is kind of the full lineup here for the Great Plains International Airport. I think that it's turned out really well, so be sure to let me know what you guys think about it. Really pleased with the progression. Ultimately, I think that it's done really, really well. So feel free to let me know what you guys think about it. I'm really excited to take a more in-depth assessment of it. And yes, the first airport update will be coming very soon, so be sure to stay on the lookout for it. I'm trying to think if there's any other information I'd like to mention. I believe it will be a monthly airport update, but depending on the demand and also just the time, this airport possibly could be not bi-monthly by any means, but there may be some small breaks here or there, so possibly be ready for that as needed. But yes. But yeah, that is the full assessment for Great Plains International Airport, everybody. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Really excited for what's to come with Great Plains. It's going to be awesome. Be sure to stay on the lookout for that first update. It'll be coming very soon, and I really hope you guys are excited for it. So excited to debut this for you guys. It's going to be very, very exciting, and we have a bunch of awesome updates to come with Great Plains International Airport. I'll be sure to keep you guys informed on the status of it. Be sure to comment below if you have any additional questions or thoughts or proposals for the airport. I'll be sure to get an extension going here at some point in the future, but really happy with the 4 concourses as we have it, and it's going to be so exciting for what's to come. Also, feel free to let me know what you guys think about the other airports to come. I definitely plan on Richmond and San Del Cabo coming in the future, so be sure to stay on the lookout for that. It'll be really exciting, but to get to use all these models, really, really excited in this connotation, and I hope you guys are as well. So with all that being said, that will do for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. My name is Redriveraviation. I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe, trust the process. Do what you love and love what you do. My name is Redriveraviation. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the very first Great Plains International Airport update as Redriveraviation is signing off.